The Museum Guard. Adam was a young man of 27, spending his days moving from one job interview to another, carrying his blue folder whose edges had begun to fray from overuse. He had been rejected dozens of times until he had nearly lost hope, and all he had left was a little money. On a rainy morning, he received an unexpected call. "You are hired as a night guard at the Imperial Heritage Museum. The pay is 3 times what you ask for, but you must start tonight." Adam was surprised by the high salary, but he did not think much of it. He needed the money. When he arrived at the museum, an old manager with cold features greeted him and, handing him a set of old keys, said, "You have only 3 rules. 1. Do not enter Hall 13, no matter what you hear. 2. If all the clocks in the museum stop at 3 in the morning, do not look behind you. 3. If you see that one of the statues has changed its place, leave at once." Adam laughed to himself, thinking it was just a joke to frighten new employees. The first hours passed quietly, until the clock struck 3 exactly. Suddenly, all the clocks in the museum stopped at the same moment. A terrible silence fell. Then he heard slow footsteps coming from the end of the corridor. He turned cautiously, but remembered the second rule, so he forced himself not to look back. After a few seconds, he heard a whisper behind his ear. "You have broken the instructions." He ran in terror through the halls, only to discover that the statues that had been still moments before were now standing in different places, as if they had been chasing him. And as he fled, he opened a door by mistake. It was the door to Hall 13. Inside, he found not historical relics, but a secret laboratory filled with modern devices and screens showing images of people from around the world. And in the middle of the hall was a glass capsule containing a man who looked exactly like Adam. Before he could take it in, the screens lit up and a masked man appeared, saying, "Welcome. You are not the first Adam to work here, but the 7th. And everyone before you died trying to uncover the museum's secret." At that moment, a huge steel door opened, and from it emerged creatures wearing black armor and metal masks, carrying strange weapons that fired blue energy instead of bullets. Adam fled through the corridors, but discovered that the museum was, on the inside, tens of times larger than it appeared from the outside, and contained hidden ancient cities, underground tunnels, and rooms preserving relics not from a human civilization, but from one that vanished thousands of years ago. And with every step, he discovered that the museum was not merely a place to preserve history, but a prison for secrets that, if they reached the world, would change the future of humanity. And Adam was faced with 2 choices, with no third. Either flee and save his life, or confront the secret organization that runs the museum and reveal the truth no matter the cost. Chapter 2. The Forbidden Corridor. The steel door closed behind Adam with a sound that shook the museum's walls, and all that remained before him was a long corridor lit by faint red lamps. The sound of the masked soldier's footsteps was drawing near quickly. "Find him! Do not let the 7th version escape!" Adam stopped for a moment, panting, then caught sight of an old map hanging on the wall. But strangely, its lines began to move on their own, and a glowing arrow appeared on it, leading him to a place labeled the Chamber of the Guardians. He had no other choice. He ran with all the strength he had until he reached a huge stone door bearing the symbol of an eye pierced by an hourglass. And the moment he placed his hand on the door, it opened by itself. Inside sat an old man wearing a black robe, surrounded by thousands of books and ancient artifacts. The man said calmly, "You are late, Adam. I have been waiting for you for 27 years. Adam was confused. "Who are you? And how do you know my name?" The old man smiled faintly and said, "Because I am the one who sent you the job offer." And before Adam could ask more, the stone door exploded, and the soldiers stormed the room. The old man raised his hand, and the statues around the room trembled and turned into stone warriors, clashing with the soldiers in a violent battle. Sparks flew everywhere, walls were shattered, while the old man pulled Adam by the arm into a secret tunnel. The tunnel led to a vast hall underground, in the center of which a giant crystal sphere rotated slowly. The old man said, "This is the heart of the museum. It imprisons an ancient power that must not fall into the wrong hands." But suddenly, a powerful voice boomed through the hall. "The time for hiding is over." The masked man who had appeared on the screen stepped out and removed his mask for the first time. Adam froze in place, because the man's face looked exactly like his own, only older by 20 years. The man said in a cold voice, "I am you, but from another future." And before Adam could reply, a red alarm blared throughout the museum. A message appeared on the screen. "Containment failed. Entity Zero has awakened." Chapter 3. Entity Zero. The museum floor shook violently. Statues fell from their bases, and all the lights went out, leaving only a red glow rising from the depths of the hole. Then a gigantic hand covered in glowing golden lines emerged from the rubble, followed by a single huge eye that opened slowly. The old man said in a trembling voice, "Entity Zero has awakened, the first creature the museum's founders imprisoned." The monster's roar rose until the walls cracked, and a shockwave threw everyone down. Adam tried to stand, but saw the masked soldiers firing their energy weapons at the beast, yet the rays bounced off its stony hide. The old man shouted, "Follow me!" Adam ran behind him into a room full of ancient weapons, but they were no ordinary weapons. There was a sword with blue sparks dancing on its blade, a spear floating in the air, and a metal gauntlet pulsing with light. The old man said, "These are not relics. They are weapons made to fight creatures not of this world." Adam approached the sword, and the moment he grasped it, the engravings on the blade lit up, and he felt a strange energy flow through his body. And at that moment, Entity Zero burst into the room, smashing through the wall. Adam charged at it and struck it with the sword. For the first time, the beast was wounded with a glowing cut, and it recoiled, releasing a tremendous roar. The man from the future said, "Only the true guardian can wield this sword." And before he could explain more, new alarm sirens wailed. A message appeared on all screens. "The museum has been breached." Then the main gate exploded, and dozens of small armed aircraft entered, led by men in black armor bearing the emblem of a red dragon. The old man said, "It is the Shadow Organization. They waited for Entity Zero to awaken so they could steal the heart of the museum." The organization's commander smiled as he looked at Adam and said, "Thank you. You have opened the way for us." And a fierce three-way battle began between Adam, the Shadow Organization, and Entity Zero, which began destroying everything before it. And in the midst of the chaos, a stone door that had not been there before opened, and a blinding white light poured out, with a mysterious voice saying, "Guardian, the time has come to learn the truth."